talked about stance, safety rules, fundamentals, grip,
all kinds of fun stuff.
all kinds of fun things. So we basically were standing there, we're ready to pull the trigger. Almost.
The most exciting point.
Right, and we haven't even got there yet. We need to now find the target and make sure that we're on target. And how do we do that? Sight picture and sight alignment. There are many, 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 many theories on, I guess there's really only 3 theories on what to focus on.
When to focus.
When to focus, yeah. Front sight, rear sight, and target.
Yep.
I think in general, the general consensus is not on the target. The general consensus. Yeah. It's either front sight or rear sight.
It's up to the individual person.
Iron sights versus scope versus red dot.
Yeah.
As well.
That's.
Yeah. There's lots of theories. For me personally, I have no idea what I do because I have red dots on most of my stuff. So I focus on the red dot.
And where that red dot is in the center of the reticle.
Yep.
And then where it is in relation to the target.
Yep. I look at the target. I look at the red dot, make sure it's in the center of the viewport, and make sure that is in the or that is on the target. That the red dot is covering the target. With iron sights, you don't do that. You don't cover the target. You put the iron sights below the target and put the target on top of the iron sights.
On the front post.
Front post, yeah. Most iron sights, you've got a U at the back, a post in the front, center everything up, put the target on top.
Yep. Just like with the red dot, it's got to be, the front sight post needs to be in the center of the rear sight.
Yep. What I find interesting shooting red dot versus iron sights is that in my math brain, red dot is 1 point. And I can, I guess to show an example, as I've got the red dot on there, I can have the red dot be on the target with all sorts of movement. Whereas with iron sights, my rear sight and my front sight are fixed. I've got 2 points, and therefore it is at least going to be straighter and more stable. So in my head, I still have to point with my finger. That's where it's going to go. And I also found that with red dot, I shoot lower than with iron sights. I have the gun up higher.
Because you're more in level with the bore.
With the iron sights.
Yeah.
I'll have to say I really don't want to trade my iron or my red dot for anything on my Glock.
You like it that much?
I do. I hate to admit this, but I'm starting to become a Hollow Sun fanboy.
Oh, great.
That sounds really bad because they're not expensive scopes. They're not the super cheap, but they're not the super expensive. And you put a Hollow Sun on it, and it's like they're good scopes. I would equate them almost with the Vortex.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I have yet to have a failed Hollow Sun. I've had Vortex.
And which one do you have?
The 507C. Red. I heard an interesting thing with that. With the green is more astigmatism friendly.
Really?
Yes. I don't have a green yet.
I have a green. Well, it goes from red to green. I admit I prefer iron sights. I just do. I can pick them up easier.
Yeah. I am nearsighted. I can see things nearer to me than farther away. They're more in focus. I think that's nearsight. So I should like iron sights. I don't.
I can get about 3 inches without my glasses, and then it's nothing but blur.
Yeah.
So
my thought is with, I guess, thinking through the defensive mindset, my thought is a red dot, I can see in the dark. Or very low light conditions, I can see a red dot.
Yep.
The Hellcat is very interesting. So that's my current carry is the Springfield Hellcat, and it's got a tritium front sight.
Do you have a blacked out rear sight?
It's all black rear sight, yeah. So I was like, that doesn't really help. It does and it doesn't. But I also put the Springfield Hex Wasp sight on it. The red dot sight, the one that's supposed to come with. And it is an always on red dot. So even sitting just there, sitting in the dresser.
So does it time out ever?
Nope.
Till you pick it up?
Nope. It's always on.
What's the battery life?
2 years.
Wow.
Always on for 2 years.
Wow.
Now, will it go for 2 years? I don't know. We'll have to see when I own it for 2 years.
Are you going to keep it for 2 years?
Probably
Is the real
not.
question.
It'll be different.
So let me know by then.
Yeah. So we have gone way
Yeah.
off topic. Sight picture and
Okay.
sight alignment. I think we kind of covered iron sights. Rear post, front post, line them up, center the front post in the rear post, notch,
Yes.
and then put the target on top. The red dot, you typically cover the
The
target with the
Yep.
red dot. With low power LPVO variable optics, low power variable optics, or even high power variable optics. Non 1x optics, you focus on the optic itself, the reticle and the
Yep.
optic, and put it on the
Target.
target, just like a red dot. So is there sight picture versus sight alignment?
Yeah.
That's
sight-
kind of all.
Well, your sight picture is your sights on the target themselves. Your sight alignment is relation of your front post to rear
Okay.
post. Up, down, left, right.
Yeah.
You know, you want it centered up. You want your front post and your rear post and your rear sight aligned height-wise, and you
Yep.
want to split the gap in between so that you have even light on the sides of your sight post coming through your rear.
Yeah. Right.
And once that's nice and even, and I know I said this earlier, you're always going to have a little bit of shaking,
Mm-hmm.
even with a rifle.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to accept that. But
And don't try to time your shots. Because with that shaking, don't
Yeah.
try to and shoot and shoot.
oh, you're more likely to miss than anything.
Right. Yeah.
And
Just slow down, take your time, squeeze your trigger.
I was gonna say that's when you get into breathing and
Yep.
all that stuff. And
Yep.
there was an Olympic shooter that would actually time it with his heartbeat, which was
I've
really
heard that.
amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, they actually hooked up the EKG and stuff to watch his heart, and when he would take a breath and everything,
Mm-hmm.
and he would fire when his heart would stop, and then fire the shot, and then he would beat again. And
Yeah.
Then, yeah. Whole nother
Yeah.
topic. That you're getting into the long range, you're controlling your breath and everything.
Yeah.
So
Racking the slide. So at that, once you get your sight picture going, once you've got your stance correct, and you know what's your target, you know what's behind it, you're ready to destroy your target, you pull the trigger,
yep.
and then you have to,
Bolt action.
bolt action, or
Chambering around.
chambering
for your
around.
First shot.
Yeah, you've got to rack the slide. Eventually, you will have to rack the slide.
Malfunction.
Whether it's a malfunction, whether it's the bolt hold open
Yep.
with the last round, you will have to rack a slide. So, how do you rack your slide?
How do I rack my
Mhm.
slide? I
Top,
go over the top. Yes.
pull it back.
Pull it back.
Let
Let
it
it
go.
go. Do
Do
not
not
ride
help,
it.
Do not. Yes. You don't shotgun it through the leg.
If I was down to one hand, the other
Yes.
the other arm is injured.
Yes, that's a total possibility
Yes.
when you
There
the situation calls for.
there are extenuating circumstances. You're shot
So
in the arm.
you come over the top.
Come
Sorry,
over the top.
You were, yeah, when you're shot in the arm, yes, you most definitely can, and that's why I like the red dots.
Because you can use those to hook on
Use
the belt. loop.
Actually, that's how I rack my red dots. Slide
I have
back.
this fear of breaking it.
Me too. Until the instructor took it and on mine, like, oh,
I've seen people
Okay.
rack them off tables. I would rather take my iron sights and rack them on a table, or rack them on my belt loop, or on my boot, or something.
yeah. It
But
took me a few times, but now I'm like, you know what? It's, yeah. So you come over the top,
Come over the top, pull it back,
pull back, let go.
Now, here's one thing, and this is
Yep.
me. I don't necessarily pull.
Okay.
I push.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
And,
Right.
and that's something that you can defeat
there are
the resistance.
Yes, there are two different ways. Like you just did it. You know, here and then push the gun forward.
Yep.
You actually have more strength pushing the gun forward
Than you do
pulling back.
Yep.
So good point. Very good point.
So if you struggle with that,
Yes.
you can always do that. It
Or,
defeats the resistance that you're
Right.
fighting against.
there is a huge spring on the front of this, right through here, that
Yep.
you have to overcome in order to, and then also the slide
Yep.
release. You have to overcome that enough to,
Or slide lock.
or slide lock, whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
I think on Glocks it's slide release. On Taurus it's slide lock. On
Same thing.
yeah.
Yeah. They just name it. The other way to do it is hold it
Yep.
like that. Again, push forward or
Yep.
pull back. Is there a right way and wrong way? This will give you a better grip on the gun. And
Yep.
it's all about control. You have more control of the gun this way.
And don't ever reach in front of the barrel.
Yeah, don't ever come over across.
Yep.
I think the dumbest thing I've ever seen is someone was trying to check their laser pointer on their sight. Did this, shot their hand. Yeah, so accessories can be bad. But yeah, I think...
Is my flashlight?
Yeah, exactly. So I think the best is come
Yeah.
like this. You got the most grip on it and then push forward.
I was gonna
That
say
gives you your strongest going forward. You've got the most grip. That just seems to be the
Yep.
best way to do it.
And of course, if you've got a bolt action rifle, you can go
Just-
under, or
You're
you
right.
can go over.
That's the Russian way, is to come over underneath.
And see, that's what I was taught.
Yeah.
The first rifle I ever shot. No, I am not.
I would never
No.
call you a communist. No.
You just did
I
twice.
did, didn't I? No, they come up.
Them's fighting words.
See if I'm ever invited back. Yes, they come up and over
Yep.
and rack it.
And that was easier for me as a kid. It really was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
Because I was already set up like this, where I was using my other arm as a prop, so it was just easier to work
Right.
the bolt that way.
Yeah.
Instead of having to come back over and
So with
Or
me in
switching hands.
long range precision, my hand, don't have the grip. I'm not holding onto the grip. So trigger, hand comes up, basically bolt
Yep.
open, all the way back, forward, trigger.
can you do that with just your thumb?
No, my bolt is way too, not gritty, but just it's too heavy for
I
it.
kind of want to try it, if you don't mind,
No.
sometime.
Absolutely not. As long as we're
Yes.
following the 4 safety rules.
Yes. No, there will be no ammunition
yes.
even on the table.
Right.
I just,
Yeah, no, that's. I tried one of the actual competition guns, 6-ounce trigger.
oh. That's almost
He
scary.
said he racked the bolt. He said rack the bolt. It's like, wow. I just opened the bolt. It's like, wow. Put it in.
Was it
and
as
it's like,
smooth as
whoa.
butter?
Yes, it was good. It was. That's what 6 figures. Not 6 figures. What 5 figures will get you?
Still, you're getting
way
up
out of my
there.
price
Yeah.
range. And I barely touched the trigger, thinking it was a couple pounds, and it went off. I'm like, wait, what? Hang
That's
on, I'm gonna do that
dangerously
again.
light. Which
He had it at 4. But again, it's all about control.
yeah,
And if you've got all the other safety rules in place, that you will not move the rifle pulling that trigger.
true, very true. But that's where you want to tell people: if you don't know what you're doing, don't
Don't do it.
modify your
Yes,
trigger.
don't.
Don't lighten it. Don't
Yes.
anything. Don't.
I'm torn about that because I put a lighter trigger in. I don't remember which one now. And it is so much easier to shoot. It is.
It's a double-edged sword. Though,
It is.
because you give it to somebody who's not.
But someone who's never shot
Yeah.
and they learn on that light trigger, it truly is a double-edged sword.
But that's
Yeah.
I'm all for modifications when it comes to personalizing a firearm for you, but
If you know what you're doing and you practice and practice and practice, yes.
then by all means go
Yep.
for it. But if you're somebody who's just doing it just because you think it's cool and you're never going to use it, you're not going to go out and practice
Right.
with it. You're just setting yourself up for failure.
Yep.
You really are, in my opinion.
Yeah. If you will get hurt. Yeah. If you screw around too much, you'll get
I was
hurt.
going to say, I've put off buying a trigger for a certain one
Yeah.
you've done a review on for what, 2 months now? And I'm sitting here going, do I not?
Right.
I want to make sure that this thing's gonna work first and
Yeah.
not have to go back in for warranty. So
Yeah.
but that's one thing and I know on a certain rifle, it's gonna get some upgrades.
Yeah.
And
I will have to say that's probably the single most fun and useful upgrade is the trigger. That way it's smooth, it's consistent,
you're
less
not
creep.
a gritty feeling when
Yep.
you're pulling it, which is just
It hurts.
yeah.
Yep. Which all goes back to grip, which goes back to are the safety rules, which if you don't have a good, clean, working gun, you will,
Clean it.
yeah,
Lube it.
lube, clean, yep.
People lube it or they don't lube it and they go to the range for the first time. They've never torn it down. They've never done anything. They just pulled it out of the box and start to fire and was actually at a range you absolutely love going to. And they told me about this. And the customer came out and said, well, the gun's jammed and it won't fire. They only fired one shot. They pulled it straight out of the box. It was completely dry. And they fired it and the slide seized
Wow.
a quarter of the way back.
Hmm.
They had to take a mallet to it just to get it to
Wow.
unstuck. And
That's not good.
yeah.
So
clean
yeah.
and lube
Yep.
regularly.
Yes.
Maintenance, which should
Which actually should probably be on here too.
Yeah.
We definitely didn't go over that.
that's another discussion.
Yeah. I guess quick plug. You should regularly clean and maintain. Okay.
Yes.
I think the last one we're going to do, we have malfunction clearing, but I think that's going to take more time than what we've got.
Yep.
And it's going to be a lot of demonstration, a lot of setup, and I think we want to do that right instead of doing it with the whole fundamentals.
Yeah.
You will need to learn how to malfunction clear your malfunctions. The best place to do that is go to probably a defensive pistol,
Yes.
defensive carbine class, and learn from them.
You want to do it with both pistol and rifle,
Yep.
or pistol caliber carbine, or whatever your choice is.
Right. That
that
would be an interesting thing. Take a PCC to a defensive carbine class and see what they do to you.
Yeah.
Laugh you off.
I
the
know,
range.
but you know what? What if I'm better with that than
Yes,
you are with
yes.
your, whatever
Anything else.
$2,000 or $3,000 gun that you
Yeah.
can't hit the target with?
Yes, agreed. I think the fundamentals will apply across the board.
Oh.
But yes,
Yeah.
I agree. So I think the last one we're going to talk about is reloading, and we got a mag. We don't have a gun to put.
Well,
mag.
we could, but
We could, but why?
yeah,
You brought this out for a reason.
yes.
Why was that reason?
Finger placement, hand placement.
How do you hold the mag when you reload?
How do I hold it?
Yep.
I want,
On the back or on the front? So your index finger is on the front of the mag.
yes.
Why?
Why? Because I want to be able to guide it in, and I want to know
Right.
that I'm hitting the mag well, and that when it hits, my finger stops, but the mag keeps going in.
Yep. And that's what we were taught. So,
And
yep.
kind of pinch it is what I do.
Yep. Yep.
So,
Pinch it.
thumb,
That way you can
middle finger pinch the mag.
middle finger.
No,
Yeah, just
you got your thumb and your middle finger pinch the
yes.
mag.
Yes. Thumb, middle finger, pinch the mag. Your finger all the way up.
Index finger goes
Yeah,
all the way
that
up
way
to the
you can-
first round.
Yep. And you can guide it in.
Yep.
You can do it in the dark. You can do it in low light. You can do it in bright light. You
Yep.
know where your mag is and guide it in quickly.
And you should be able to do it in the dark.
Yep.
Don't practice reloading with live ammunition.
Oh no! Don't yeah.
Don't
Ammunition in basement, another room locked up. Just
Yeah.
nowhere near where you're practicing.
Always keep any live ammunition away
Yep.
when you're cleaning, practicing, whatever. Go get snap caps. They're bright orange. They're bright red. They're
Different colors.
there's
Yep.
even neon green I've seen.
Yep.
You know, that way you know that it's not live ammunition.
Yes, that's when you're dry firing.
Yes.
And that's the
Or-
only time you should have.
Yeah.
I think you should have even that. I mean, when you can slide lock the release,
Yep.
release, blah, 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 blah. You can have the slide lock back and practice your
Yep.
reloading without any ammo.
But for malfunction clearing,
Malfunction clearing, yeah, that was the
Stripping a
second
mag.
thing. Yep.
Which is another thing that you need to learn to do. So, like, say you get a double feed or
Mhm.
something, and the mag is stuck,
Mm-hmm.
you lock the slide back. You got to rip that mag out if it's jammed in there because you got one round trying to feed, you got another round stuck there or stovepipe,
Right.
and it can't go anywhere else. So you got to strip it, and it's another reason.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
don't worry about the rounds that fall out either.
Oh no. Yeah.
Just get them in there and get back to going.
Yeah, and that was like when I did take the defensive pistol class. That we went through all that. There was 2-3 hours of malfunction clearing, all kinds from and he would. That was again thinking through the safety rules. Don't point the gun at anything you want to do, and having him load the mag or lock the slide back, put the round in, put the mag in, do this. I'm like, this is live ammo, and you're standing in front of us. He was always off to the side. He wasn't the Russian idiots. He was.
I'm gonna stand 5 feet from you and shoot towards your head, but right next to it.
Right. No.
Or no, I'm gonna kneel down in front of you and then stand up.
He was real good about making sure that he was either behind us, beside us, directly beside us, or definitely out of the line of fire.
That way, the whole lane was
Yep.
clear.
So we would all stand in a line, all make sure that none was, in front of or behind the others, and just here's how to do this one. Okay, now practice, practice fire, all that sort of stuff. So,
And don't flag yourself when you're doing it, and
No.
don't flag anybody else.
and that's where training from a professional comes into play.
Yep.
They know what they're doing, hopefully, and
But see,
they will
that's when
teach
you
you.
get into low ready and
Yeah,
high ready
yep.
and everything else, and
Yep.
that's
So that is our take on the fundamentals.
yep.
Um,
Besides clean.
besides cleaning,
Now that I think about it,
I
that
did.
should be a fundamental, but it's a separate fundamental.
Yeah, just
So.
do it as. We won't go into that.
Yeah.
So, I think that's a lot of them. Practice every time you're out on the range. Gun rules, gun safety rules. All
Yep.
this can be. You just Google any of this, and you will get more info than you will ever want. And we will. I mean, there will be more coming.
I was gonna say this is one thing that
This is a
People should be
very high
educated
overview.
on.
Yes, and this is a high overview. We could probably take hours on each of these topics.
at
alone.
least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I think we'll wrap it up there.
Yep.
And at that, we'll see what happens next time.
Yep.